Hey everyone, how you doing today? Well, thought I would start working on this Cerberus here. I respawned it and kind of moved it away from everything else I had spawned in just to try to keep the frame rate going. Um, so this is the exact version that's on the workshop. Very, very, very dated at this point in time. It doesn't work if you spawn it. It's way over on CPU. Doesn't have anything new on it, including shields, storage containers, or storage extension systems, anything that's new to the game, basically, from about 3 years ago, roughly. So what I wanted to do first here is, well, there's different phases of this refit. First thing I'm going to do is try to really kind of revamp the body, and also on the people that I brought up the question about making this a Skaar creation, and I can definitely say that just about every comment was for that. There was one other comment that suggested leaving the Cerberus NG as the human one, and that makes total sense. So, yep, that's kind of the deal. Now, I probably would have to release this as a new creation because it's going to be drastically different than what you see here. And I don't really want to just replace this one since it's been out there so long. But let's get started. So what I really want to do is I'm going to kind of start where I started last time, I think. I'm going to start just going through every little panel of this thing and trying to refit the body, add in some Skaar things along the way, and also I'm trying to keep a very good mindful eye on my current thruster situation, which I'm actually not terribly happy with. Technically speaking, some of these thrusters, like back over here, would, if you go, to infinite space away, would be blocked. Same goes for some of the thrusters going this direction, facing into the back of the leg over here. So there's a lot of little issues like that all over the place, and I'm going to try to rectify that when redoing body parts of it. But cosmetically speaking, I kind of wanted to get a grasp on the general overall look that I would like to have this have. So I'm going to start kind of where I started last time. I'm going to mess with a bunch of blocks over here. And my goal is to kind of refine the body and then also kind of add in Skaar-like things all over the place to, I don't know, give it that look, I guess. So I'm kind of feeling fairly confident that I think this could turn out pretty decent in the end, but it's going to be a lot of work and it's going to take a while. So to start with, I think what I'm going to try to accomplish here is do the same thing I did last time and double fold this in. In fact, I'm already screwing up. Let me undo what I did. This would be a very good use of symmetry if I do this right here, because the entire ship is pretty much symmetrical. Although the interior might get altered with that, I'm going to try to add in some asymmetry inside it to maximize space, and also I think it just is cooler with asymmetry. So let's start here. Let's line up some of these wedges to kind of work out. I'm going to have to modify so many body lines. It's going to be pretty crazy, but it's all right. When it's all said and done, I think it'll be more like, hopefully, more like a new ship than anything else. So I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to use two different angle wedge shapes here. And we're going to start with this one. I'm going to go in so I can line that up properly to the window. Debating whether or not I want a little bit of a lip here, though. I think I kind of do. So if it came out like a half block over the window, it doesn't have to. I could make it flush, like by putting it here. But I kind of want it out. An extra little block there. So let's just keep going with that same approach. And I'm going to try to gut some other blocks that are no longer going to be necessary as well along the way. Trying to keep things optimized as best I can so the overall cost and weight of the ship, it doesn't like shoot drastically up from where it was originally. And I worry about that too, because a lot of these parts and things will use more CPU and whatnot in the process. But I think it can be balanced off decently enough. Okay, so angle number 1, obviously I'm not liking that tip there either. Angle number 2, going to this set. I think the double beveled edge, I think, would probably look a little bit cooler, a little more less blocky, and that's kind of a big goal I have on this too. I think the ship itself looks kind of blocky right now, and I know it doesn't have to. Alright, so let's see if we did that. Let's actually reverse this so it goes to the opposite angle as what it does above. If I can rotate this block correctly, maybe I'll get it right one of these times. Okay, so what? Okay, there we go. So that would need to come up to there. Am I doing this right? No. Yeah, like that. Okay, just had to get it started right, and then everything fits into place pretty good. It's just basically a clone of what's being done on the top part. Okay, so thrust-wise, these aren't going to be here anymore. So I'm not so worried about that. Now kind of what I wanted to do is, well, let's see. Should this bottom line be out where it's at? Or should we also do another lip here with like a half block? I'm going to try that, see how that turns out. I wanted to get this video started earlier, but I really screwed up. I got this wireless headphones, and after the live stream and something else yesterday, I thought I put it on charge, and I didn't have the cord plugged in all the way, so my headphones were totally dead this morning, so I couldn't really start the video until later. My bad there. So yeah, I think I don't mind that. It breaks it up a little bit different, so it's not the same on the top as the bottom. Just some of the stuff on the inside looks like I was messing with the farm that I had there. Okay, so we got a couple, change that around a little bit. Now this squarish looking thing back here isn't terribly wonderful either, so let's try to find a better block solution for what's going on here. Or try to put in something Skaar-like to break it up. Maybe some of these new blocks. Yeah, if I did that, well, we're just going to put in a block here. That'll probably get changed once the interior gets looked at. Now I sure wish the new glass could do these angles, but it simply can't, so I can't really do much with the glass here. I just want to confirm that it is the higher hit point version, and it is. Okay, so that's good. Alright, so what do we put over here to give it some character somehow? Thinking about trying something here. add in some kind of pipe end there, and let's also change these out slightly so I get a bit of a lip on one side of it, like that, which would enable me to add some like little frame piece over that. Something like this, which is typical of Skaar type stuff. And let's see, what can we put on the end of this block here to make it look kind of neat? Actually, in this case, maybe just a deco piece. Keep in mind, these didn't exist when this ship was built either. Now we've got this little wacky thing there for no particular reason, but that's cool. That's what it's all about. Let's fill that in, and the bottom doesn't need to be filled. All right. So now these blocks here. And let's just curve that into right there and try to keep that angle. Now another thing too, I'm going to just do this a second just to get the grasp of what this should look like. In fact, one sec here, let me get the color palette. So let me spawn in something Skaar. Oops, we got a lot of, how about this one? Okay. So yeah, the Skaar Prospect T2. This is the Tier 2 SV miner that I don't have released. I did. Well, I wouldn't say it's finished yet. I obviously am missing some textures, but it's close to. So what I'm going to do here, I'm going to hop in with the color tool. I'm going to hit configure. I'm going to make sure the top box is selected. I'm going to hold down shift and touch on the bottom right, and then I'm going to hit copy. I'll just hit OK, escape out of that, go back to the Cerberus, and hit configure again. Do the same thing. Hold down shift, touch on the bottom right, and hit paste. So now I've got the Skaar color palette in here. So I'm going to go with its default color, which is this kind of mid-dark gray. And I'm going to pick the default texture, and I'm going to replace all blocks. So I'm just going to do the blocks that I've replaced so far, so you can get a little grasp on the look different between the, or how it's going to look differently between how it did before and now. And I want to try to kind of establish like a bit of a color pattern scheme too. So the Skaar uses a few different shades of gray, and I'm going to kind of experiment with what might look alright. Like say this one here was lighter on that row, and maybe also on the top over here. Then the rows below that stay darker. Something like that. Now, yeah, it does bug me that this texture's so, yeah, I can't, there's just no chance of lining up the lines with it, but there are some things, there are some little tricks, like every other block you could put another texture on here that will line up, but it's like two of them. For instance, like if we wanted a vent here, we could do something like that to just kind of break up that monotony of the texture. Or other textures would also work on that. Vents like this work quite well, actually. But if you try to do it on the block in between, it's wacky and at a complete angle. Now, sometimes I've also used that too by putting in some of these to kind of give that line there. But it's a smoother metal, so I've been pretty sparing with that. And then there's also this, which once in a while I will put in a little bit of this texture on the Skaar creation as well. I think for now I'm just going to keep it kind of simplistic. We'll detail all that stuff later on. Alright, so what can we do here? Maybe put in some kind of variation like that. And then texture these side pieces. I've been using this an awful lot because it fits well. But there are other things you can texture these with too, like this. This also works pretty good. Gives you a little bit of a different look. And put in some detail stuff there. Alright. So moving on. Yeah, this whole ridge line here. I kind of want to alter this shape here some. So let's get rid of what's mostly there right now. It'd be kind of nice if it lined up over here properly as well. I'll try that for now. We'll see if it gets changed later on. And yeah, since there's, you know, there's blocks below there, let's go with these thin ones here. For a little bit at least. And then a different angle here. Should probably make it look a little sleeker. I just got to make sure it's going to come out all right. See, that kind of went in pretty abruptly. Let's try that. Or, you know, there's something else too. I'll change that again, but let's get in these. Oh, no, that's not actually it either. Oh, excuse me. Be kind of neat to use some of this, but that would kind of change the body line a little bit. But I do like the fact that it's got that edge on it. That is kind of neat. It would actually line up to the edge there if done right. Okay. I'm just going to keep on removing some blocks underneath all this here too. Looks like there's a lot of filled in stuff here. If I can make this thing weigh less, that would be a beneficial thing. But of course I want to make sure that it stays or is pretty strong too, especially in places that it needs to be strong at. Okay. So do we want to run that straight over there, or should it curve in? I think I'm going to just go straight with this, right up to there. See how it looks. And let's see. What I'm trying to do too is keep this turret so it has a pretty good firing range. Right now it's got a little bit of blockage because of these blocks, but I also like those blocks cosmetically speaking. Just seeing what would happen if it changed here. If it had that angle, then it would not be interrupted by this little block here blocking its firing. Oops. Just do, there we go. Maybe something like that. Now let's just fill in a lot of this. Now most of these blocks on the full blocks will probably get replaced once the interior gets done and I start digging into the ceiling. So that's just part of the deal. And I think we can alter this angle so it perfectly meshes with what was there already. go all the way up like that. I don't know. Could keep it at a half block and use this block instead to keep that down. I'm not even sure if I want to keep these thrusters here or not. They're not terribly powerful, but they also don't take up a lot of space, which is helpful. Let's alter this angle here too. Alright, big square edge here. I'm not liking it. So let's pummel some of these blocks over here. And what do we want to do here? Now there's another block that's pretty cool that also fits with this kind of stuff. And that's this one here. Just want to see how that comes out if it ran to the edge. That's alright. Let's see. I'm trying to keep two of those the same. Oops. So, just checking up here. Okay, look, this looks like it's a weapon mount point here. Just trying to figure out how I want to do this transition here. Let's take a look at some transition blocks. So we could do that. I don't think there's a connector that fits between those two. It would be maybe I don't want to do that. Let's put this back. Alright, so on the agenda, rebuild new launcher mounts. Alright. So I don't mind that. Just got to figure out what I'm doing over here yet. Let's pull out that row a second. And what can we put in here? Obviously this would fit, but is there anything neater to do than that? Not necessarily. Okay, so let's also swap this one here with another one of these. Get that right. Yeah, like that. So I really want this to wrap around nicely over here, though. How can I do that? Because I just don't believe there's a block that exists to do that conversion. Alright, well, typically when I run into these kind of situations where it's just like, it's a no-win scenario, there's no way you're going to get that to work right. Sometimes I will purposely break it up with something else here. And I'm going to attempt that. I don't know if I'm going to be successful. Or if this is a good spot to break it up at, because I'm not so sure about that. Nah, I guess I'm not going to break it up. Let's do this. And maybe switch the block on the other side to be at that angle, maybe. Alright, keep in mind, that's going to get deleted and rebuild anyway, so I'll make it fit when that happens. Alright, so these end blocks here, I want to keep that pattern all the way through, or change the angle so it lines up like it was already. Well, I actually think maybe I will leave it and maybe extend it by another block so it trims it up nicely. And here we could use one of these. And another one of these. Kind of weird. So a little chaotic, which, yeah, okay, I'm good with that. Alright. Other detail factors. Do something here with these full blocks to add in something to look at. Look at all these extra blocks below here too. Let's just get rid of those too. Oh, that looks like it's part of the hanger wall. We'll figure that out when we get to the hanger. This is just kind of a pretty simple little thing to get a little bit of extra block depth in there without really doing anything special. Now, another thing that on a big ship or a big surface area, something else that's a nice option sometimes is to use a bunch of shaped thin blocks over it to create some kind of pattern. In this case, I don't have much room here to even pull that off. And I'm not trying to make the ship bigger than what it originally was. Not like the Cerberus NG was intentionally made bigger than the original one. Okay, so this angle here to this 45, I don't want a 45 there. I think I'd rather have a 22.5 both here and here. I think it would look a little bit better in the end. So how is that going to be done? I think I'd want to start back a little bit further, like over here. And I'll run these instead. See how that comes out. Looks like could have really stand to be one block row further back, but that ain't gonna line up with anything else right now. Tell you what, let's and then, yeah, this area is awfully flat here too, so I'm not digging on that very much. So we're gonna double bevel this part too, I think. here, we'll go to the other set. Not sure if that should be changed or not. Yeah, I kind of like that. Alright, so yeah, we're getting a little bit more angle action over here too. I do like that better. That would also allow it to trim this up and repeat that on the bottom side like it was done over there. Obviously the interior is getting really messed up in the process here too, but that's okay. The interior is going to have to change some. Now one debate I've got too is, since I built this ship, I switched the way I did these, where I moved the crafting areas to the hangar, which this one did not do. But on this particular ship, I'm not sure how I want to handle it yet. If I want to move the crafting to the hangar, or keep it how it has, the same layout that it has now, roughly. And I'm thinking I'll just try to keep it like it is. But if anybody's got any feedback on that one, or if you'd think it would be better if all the crafting was moved to the hangar, and that other space that is the crafting area now, I don't know what I would make of it. And that's a thing. If I was that efficient with the space, I think the only thing I could really put there that would, what did I just do there? The only thing I could really do there is add fluff. And that is one thing, this ship really did not have much in the realm of fluff in it originally. And it doesn't, I don't think, needs it. But it probably should have a bathroom at least. I'm not even sure if it came stock with a bathroom. So yeah, over here, let's put in something there to divide that up. Might as well just keep going with that. With these, we'll have to add in a new wall on the inside right there because of the visuals here. Since I did all that, then this piece here technically could be another one of those. Oh, yeah. I'm really encroaching in, getting in on that inside area. No, let's not do that. Let's put in, God, what would work? Not much. I guess I will just keep the full block there. Just contemplating what to do here. What if we transition back to the other angle, only at a different angle like that? Kind of don't mind it, but it's also kind of not really. I don't like that little dip right there. Just maybe keep it how it was. Oops. Trying to make this all line up so you don't have that little weird gap thing there. So we know that lines up, so what I'm going to do is reseed this part so it also kind of lines up. And that would drop this down to where I wanted it to be anyway, at the new angle. Something like that. So when I do get to the back too, this angle here will be moved to a 22.5 degree. I think it's going to make it look a little sleeker. And already speaking, I think the curves are getting rid of that blocky look. And that is a big thing on what I wanted to do. I'm not so sure about this double, like, little edge here. It'd actually be kind of neat if this turret actually just came out another block space. That could save a lot of trouble, and then I could make that real nicer. But the turret did come. Yeah, I think I'll go with that plan. We'll just plan on moving the turret out another block row. That would fix this problem. Alright, let's take a look at how this corner can be done. First, I think we're going to want to start with that. And then maybe go into that. And I can keep the same angle, keep everything kind of smooth. And at the front, could fold it back in again. Which that would line up to where the turret is. And I think all should be good in the world. Okay. Let's just start. So this side over here should match the other side better than what it is. And turret, since, okay, so the turret, these blocks here would really want to be probably full blocks. Not really interested in putting necessarily retractable turrets on this ship. I'd rather have the extra blocks involved, I think. Now this could come to some kind of point here at the end. So what if it did that and then went into... Can that work? It kind of works. I don't mind that. Let's do a little something at the edge here. Alright, just go out at that angle. Yeah, okay, that works. I asked that if there was an alternative. I could have did it thin as well using this one. Like that. I'll just do it anyway to see what it would look like in comparison. And then used this block here. Like that. Guess I don't mind either. I'll leave it like that for now. Maybe I'll change it later. So that'll give us a nice 3x3 spot for the turret there, which is one block further out than it used to be, which is allowing this area to be smoothed out better. Alright, and you know, I think I'm going to pull that one and just replace it with a full block, but we will move it forward here. I'm trying to rotate these things so the faces line up correctly, so when I do texture them, I'll have a face separation between one part and the other. Like for instance, one idea with this would be to do something on the top here, and then maybe add in, I don't know, some vents or something on the inside, and then maybe, I don't know, maybe a little of that on the inside of that. Something like that. Give it that kind of crude look. I don't like that little jaggy line right there though. So, what else fits there? These fit too. Alright. Inside. Let's put in some of those, but angle them all so they're facing one direction. Like that. And the outer areas around here, of course, would be like that. I have to review what color everything's going to be yet. Speaking of that, I just did this with gray. I'm curious if maybe I shouldn't go up 2 tones to that. I'll leave that gray though. Get a little, oops. Get a little bit of color separation here. Maybe not there though. Okay, and then go dark on the top of that. Yeah, I will say though, this is actually quite fun. I've never tried to take an existing creation and then switch races on it. Which I actually kind of like doing the Skaar better anyway, but yeah, it's kind of interesting and fun. And yes, I also have to think about some texture lights here too. Just trying to see what could go in some of these. I'm trying to give it some kind of breakups and changes. Kind of give it that patchwork look, like everything was welded together. So all I really want is this texture just without the lines in it, but I can't have it here at least. I'm not sure what to exactly put in this. Just wanted to get something to look at in there. Same idea here with a vent. Reason why I'm not doing texture light here, I could. Technically it would fit, but it's just so big. Usually when I do texture lights, I try to find a small surface area to do it on. So, yeah, you know what? You're out of there. We'll come up with a new thruster solution later. So I'm going to use this block here, which has a bit of a lip on it that doesn't actually line up to the windows, but I'm going to be alright with that because I'm going to make it into a texture light. And that is a really good block for texture lights. So I can do that and that. Now this thing isn't on, so you're not really seeing it right now, but on the inside, this row here should be dark. So I'm going to try to go one step darker. Make sure the windows are the same. So, and then let's see, this should be one step lighter. Except maybe that back part will leave it the same color. Oh yeah, that would also be that, like that. reason why I use so many different grays sometimes too is to, well, at least your main tone grays especially, is so I can do exactly what I'm doing. So I can like separate one color from another, sometimes in like row patterns like this. Other times it's really cool. Actually, if you just like say, like, I don't know if it's gonna work over here or not, but say we just take this lighter shade, and we're like, hey, these two rows here are just going to be that, and then this is all going to be dark. So you kind of create, I don't know, just kind of a patchy pattern there. Now in that case, I didn't particularly like what I just did there, but I'll find other spots on the ship that I think that might work out better. Yeah, I don't really like it there. So over here, there's a couple textures that fit on this edge kind of nicely, but I didn't want to use all of one texture there, so I'm looking for alternatives. Excuse me again. I could try this alternative texture light, which does light up nicely at night. Speaking of, yeah, it would be nice to make this thing work. So you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna just cheaply throw in some tier 4 blocks a second. I don't think it was that far over CPU at tier 4. So yeah, as soon as I do that, it turns on. Probably not great efficiency, but oh well. But now we got power, so now we can see the texture lights. Alright. I'm a little bit tight on time at the very moment, because I kind of want to keep on working on this. So I will show you all the work that I keep on doing on this thing. And just like I did today, and it's going to be a slow process because I am kind of, in some senses, rebuilding the whole ship, changing its appearance, changing a lot of the function on it. So it's going to take a while. Just like the Persis Carrier CV2 from Persis Carrier conversion took quite some time too. This one will be about the same, I'm sure. But you kind of see, starting to establish at least general appearance on how this would look. And it'll be modified too. Like a lot of the stuff will keep on changing. As it gets done up. But yeah, that looks so much more Skaarish than what it did prior in this same general area. And there's not all that many blocks that are the same yet. I mean, some are, but a lot of them have changed. I'm wondering, maybe I should have a stripe here. If it did have a stripe, it should be a dark stripe. Or maybe here. I will mess around with like paint color schemes too, and make a lot of alterations until I find one that I think looks the best. Yeah. So I didn't like the change I made there. Well, anyway, the next video will be longer. I'm just really pressed for time. I got to be somewhere shortly, so I will probably actually try to work on this a little bit more and record everything, and just keep on throwing out videos of the conversion process of this, switching it over to Skaar. And another great thing too I love to do is look at things at night, especially when you're dealing with interior lighting. But it's also nice to see the texture lights like pop out when you're looking at like a nighttime creation, and then to see if your spacing of the texture lights are, like, if you got too many texture lights or not enough texture lights. Things always kind of, you know, you'll dial it in. Sometimes, like, maybe I'll remove this texture light later on, or remove those texture lights and put something else nearby or something, just to alter it, and kind of like, you know, sit back from a distance and look at it, and it's like, Is it too much? Is it not enough? Is it too boring in one area or whatnot? Oh, and also, yeah. And also, you know, when you release something to the workshop, and I made this mistake on my earlier ships too, like these exterior lights by default are just on. That sucks. One thing I always do is make sure, and I usually have a switch for exterior lights in one way or another, but by default, when I'm going to publish this to the workshop, I have that exterior lights off. I normally will keep the thrusters, and if it's got a power mode, I will keep the thrusters and the performance mode on by default when releasing the workshop. And there's another thing too, and I've forgotten this before too. When you look at your devices, one of the last steps I do before I, do the final save before I'm gonna put it on the workshop is I will auto group everything. It just keeps it cleaner. I've been called out on that, not doing this before, and now it's just a habit that that is like the last thing I'm gonna do. Do that, resave the ship, publish it. So that is literally the last step. But yeah, already speaking though, I'm just, if you compare old parts of the ship to what was just changed, you can see it's already kind of going through a pretty dramatic transformation. Add in a little bit of weird detailing things in here too, like say put a pipe here, deck pipe or something like that. You see, that would be fine. All right. Well, anyway, yeah, it didn't look like I got much done. Next video, hopefully I get a lot more done on this. And probably be tomorrow on the next video. So I will keep on jamming on this and try to keep this more up to date. All right. Anyway, you all have yourself a good day. I will see you later.